Welcome back to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten. Today I have two guests with me. I have someone by the name of Chris Groves and I have Mike Hammerly. Okay, but these two are part of Phantom V. Okay, so Phantom V. So go ahead and tell us what Phantom V is. Oh, okay. So we're going to have Mike. Mike's going to start.
So Phantom V is a group of five guys that got together, and the five of us put together Phantom V. We started doing this as a side thing. You know, all five of us currently have jobs.
Okay.
And
so hold on, where are you located?
Warrensburg, Missouri.
Warrensburg, Missouri. Okay, and you are a distillery.
Yes.
Distillery and a restaurant all in one.
Yes.
Okay, so there's five people. Well, kind of all in one. Not really, but kind of.
Right.
Okay, and we'll get into that. Okay, so there's five owners, right? So that V doesn't stand for vodka. That
No.
V is a Roman numeral for the number 5.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
So let's go into everybody's names first. So you're Mike Hammerly, and we've got Chris Groves. So who are the other three?
So we got Mike Brookshire, and then we also have Jim Stuck and Monty Atkinson.
Okay. Now then, all of you have different jobs other than Phantom V.
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead and tell us what those are.
So I work for a company called SMC, and I'm an automation specialist with them. Been with them for 35 years.
I'm Chris Groves. I'm an automation engineer. Essentially, I have been working with All Pro Electrical for 7 years now.
Okay. And then do y'all work with Mike, Jim, and Monty outside of Phantom V?
So, yeah, they're all part of All Pro Electrical as well.
Okay. So I will tell you, you know what? Like a lot of people that tune into this podcast are country people, right? Mm-hmm. Have any of y'all ever rode a horse? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What have you? Tell me about these horses that you've rode before.
Back in the day, had a real soft spot for Appaloosas.
Okay.
And so that was one of the ones that my family and my grandfather and that stuff that had, and got to ride it occasionally. You know?
Okay. What was your favorite Appaloosa's name?
Oh, man. That's going back.
We have one named Peppercorn.
Peppercorn. Huh?
Peppercorn is awful. I told my husband that he basically married, the woman that I am is basically the horse that he has. Because she's pretty, but she's kind of thick. She got an attitude. She got big boobies. And then she'll put you in your place in like 2 seconds, but then she'll love you forever if you treat her good. So I'm just like, oh. And then we use her for kids camp, you know. But that's, we have one, I call her a Crapaloosa. But that horse loves me. But she's 19 this year. And you can tell her jaw, she got kicked by another horse and it's got like a horseshoe indention into the jaw. But that's Peppercorn. All of our other animals are like brownish or yellow, and then we've got Peppercorn out in the middle of the pasture. So do you remember any of their names?
Man, it's been so long ago. No, it's...
You don't even care about their names. You're one of them cowboys that's like, we're just riding horses. They don't have no blue and red.
Yeah.
That's it. So what did you ride before, Chris?
So I'm not sure what breed she was, but the horse that we always had there on the farm when I grew up, her name was Ferris.
Ferris. Okay.
She was mean.
She was, most of the females are.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that's why this podcast is called Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten? And I tell everybody it's not the size of the mare, it's the size of the boss. And everybody always thinks it's like the stallion in charge, but there's actually usually one female in charge of the herd. So that's what that's supposed to be about. I went and did a presentation in another, like it was Springfield or Columbia or something, and they thought I was Big Boss Marie. And I was like, no, that's Mare. And they were like, oh, we thought your name was Marie. I was like, it's called Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten. You thought it was Big Boss Marie with Brandy Von Holten. And I was like, okay. They thought it's like two people. I thought that was cute, though. It's good for me to meet people outside of my horse industry. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about, were your families originally receptive to y'all doing this? Or what did they think, the initial thoughts of like, hey, we're going to open a distillery?
Mine were all behind it, but I'd been doing it for quite a while with the wines and some other things prior to that. So I kept a lot of the family and free alcohol. So I was a pretty good You
were a
I was
favorite.
popular, yes.
You were very popular.
Kind of like owning a bobcat or something, and everybody's your buddy. Can I borrow your bobcat?
Or if you got a friend with a Ford Ranger, I need to move a couch. They are your best friend. Okay. So tell me, how long have you been making? So you were one of the primary ones. You and Chris were the primary ones. So tell me about do you serve the wine?
No, I do not. That's kind of one of the things that's kind of my side, my specialty. Back, still doing it off on the side. Used to compete in wine competitions and got a lot of medals, gold medals and silvers and some bronzes. And I did everything from ports to Pinot Noirs to all just different kinds of wines and.
So you're so much classier than I am. I don't know all the different alcohols. I am not an expert. I mean, I know what I like, but then I don't know. I know we went to Mexico before, and I got to drinking some vodka with some Russians, and I was not ready. I was not ready.
Not ready.
I did not understand the assignment at all. So... All right, so you know what? It's kind of weird to hear some things that they have competed in. So, because I competed in a pie baking contest, but then I was still a school teacher. So I got up super early, and it was for the governor's wife or something at the state fair. So I made 2 homemade pies, and then I made my husband take them, and because we picked the prettiest one. And whenever they started announcing people, they had to go up there and talk about it. And he was like, "Dear Lord, baby Jesus, please don't let my wife win. Please don't let my wife win," because he was the only one there, and he was going to have to be. I mean, you had to be about, I don't know. He said almost everybody was about 40 years older than him at the time. And then there was not hardly any guys. And then he was going to have to go up there and talk about this pie. So... And then I competed in a chili contest one time. I got second, and it was just because they liked the name. I called it Slap Your Grandma Chili, because you need to go home, slap your grandma, and be like, "Why didn't you make chili like this?" And it's just because we put a bunch of bacon in it. But do you know, the person that won that chili contest, what they had done was they had used canned chili, and then they used canned jalapenos and put in there, and they beat everybody's chili. So the person that got really upset about it, that had spent 3 days making their chili, they were like, "I'm judging it next year." And do you know that they chose that same person's chili again? Even the person that was like, "Oh no." And they were just devastated whenever it exposed, like on the bottom of it, and it said who had made it. It just cracks me up. That canned Hormel chili with some jalapenos in it. Apparently, that is popular. It sounds
good stuff.
Oh, it sounds like it would make my stomach hurt for a week.
Yes.
So, all right. So tell me. So your family was super supportive, and they're just like, "Heck yeah!" What about your family?
So my family, it was more of a don't talk, don't tell scenario.
Okay.
So my wife, she's a teacher. And so she was concerned about her
public view.
Public view, exactly.
Right?
And
because you don't want to be like, "Hey, what was that TV show where one of the teachers was an exotic dancer, and it was, what is that, what is that football thing, and the boy is a big guy, and he has a pet pig, like public view, right, of what teachers." But your wife was being very conservative, she's just like, "Oh gosh, I don't want them to think I condone alcohol."
Exactly. And so we really never shared that outside of the family.
Okay.
Even with the family. So it was several years before we actually even told her parents that we were involved in this.
Okay. And then what was their response?
Oh, they thought it was great.
Oh my gosh, and y'all were so nervous the entire time that like, "Oh, they're going to think that we're like pushing alcoholism and that we're, like, I don't know, like, here you can buy alcohol, but we're going to put it in a brown bag." Like they thought there was.
So I mean, they grew up in Herman, and so they got a lot of that wine background and alcohol in the area.
Right.
And so they have always had that sort of stigma against alcohol anyway, just because people come to town, they get drunk, and then they leave or whatever that is. And so with that being said, we always thought that they wouldn't be receptive to the idea of someone else making alcohol in the family. So we never told them.
Oh, okay. So, has your wife had any backlash or anything with y'all having part of Phantom 5 or being one of the 5?
I don't think she's told anyone yet. Not in the community.
Oh, no. Uh-oh, here we are.
It is what it is, right?
Well, it is what it is. I mean, hiding a successful business.
I wouldn't say that she's hiding anything. She's just opting to not tell anyone.
Okay.
And if they don't ask, she doesn't tell.
So I'll tell you, I had talked to y'all before we had started this, and I talked to you about my fighting career before because I had tried to go to the Olympics, and I had gotten originally into teaching because I had summers off. Well, I remember teaching at Truman High School, and I was a biology instructor there. Well, I got a black eye one weekend. So I'm coming to school, and you're not wanting to condone fighting. So I understand, but what we did is like Olympic level fighting. Like I fought in other countries. I'm not some thug being like, I'm gonna fight you.
Well, it wasn't fighting; it was a sport.
Oh yes, it's a game of chess with major consequences. Okay, so I had put the makeup on. Like I came into school like, bam, with the eyes, right, and the kids are like, what are you doing? And I was like, I got a black eye, and I don't want the principal to get, to be upset with me thinking I'm trying to condone fighting to y'all. So anyways, at the end of the day, I was like, I can't wear this makeup like this for a week. So I went and showed her, and she was like, that's an awesome black eye. But she was like, no, it's a full contact sport. She's like, the kids are bruised up from football and from other sports, and they're like, you're trying to go to the Olympics. So I was so nervous, and I had wore some hideous purple and blue eyeshadow trying to match the other eye, and I had so much fear thinking that they were going to say something, and they didn't. So I understand, because you're with your wife being in a small town, Yep. I bet they're going to be like, that is so cool. Can you sponsor this? Can you sponsor that?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't say.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so how did the other people's families deal with y'all? Or deal with y'all wanting to do this?
I don't know. Each member of the group, their families had different reactions. But at the end, it seemed like everybody was on board with it once we told them. Mm-hmm. But everyone seemed to have their own reason for not telling in the beginning.
So one family member, the wife was concerned about the public image and about being connected with religion and just being like, hey, we're not wanting to, worried about that. And then another one, one of their family members is a counselor that actually helps people overcome alcoholism. So they were worried about that connection. And then, so that's why you got the name Phantom?
It is. That's exactly the reason why. So because each one of us had our own reason for trying to not necessarily come out into the public with it for our families, we ended up going with the name for Phantom so that, it was 5 phantoms, nobody really knows what's going on, and try to be out of the spotlight as far as individual people.
Okay, and then I'm over here here's their names, and here's where they work, and here's what they do. So well,
that was years ago, and nowadays we're all okay with it, so it's not like it's...
okay, because whenever I walked in, I was like, it's got all y'all's names listed.
Oh, yeah, yep.
With naming of stuff, that was one of the reasons why we have a facility called Von Holten Ranch, and we have a wedding venue, and we did that because we wanted... our land has been in the same family since 1906, but now we have different businesses. And Von Holten, my last name sounds like I'm gonna sucker punch somebody, pow. It sounds like a strong name. It sounds a very strong name. So our new businesses, my husband has something with a router, a CNC router, but it's called Building with David. It just sounds a lot nicer.
A little softer. And then my horsemanship things that I've been teaching online is called Horsemanship with Brandy. We want it to be more average Joe, we want it to be a little bit more inviting, because the people that those businesses service are
beginner or novice or children, so we want it to be inviting. And our last name is just Strong. And it was a wonderful fighting name. I will tell you that. Whenever they would call Von Holten to the ring, like people were like, "Oh my gosh!" I mean,
so is that a German name?
Very German. Yeah. Very German. So there's a caste system. And they would say, well, you're low class, you working class, you high class, okay? And you can identify that by the last name. So there's Holten, Van Holten, Von Holten. So, and I could, if it was based on us, we would be just like the Holtens or the Van Holtens, okay? We wouldn't be Von Holten. My husband and I are pretty blue-collar America, hardworking, you know. But, you know, back in the day, for the people that were moving away from Germany, I'm sure it took a lot of income, you know, so I'm sure they were, Von Holtens being able to move countries and get reestablished.
Right.
So
tell us about this property. I noticed there's a bunch of train stuff. Like, what is that all about?
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things that, with the history of the area, what happened here at this location, back in 1904, you had all these people going to the World's Fair. And right here at this site, at Dead Man's Curve, was the World's Fair train wreck. And it was a big historical thing back in the day. And it's, you know, you can go look on the internet and do a lot of research on it. And it happens to be at this location.
Okay. Do you know the number of people that
29.
were 29? Okay. Yep. That is a big deal. You know, and for a train...
Now that's deaths, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, for... you would think that they would be able to know that there was going to be a wreck. Because were they on the same track?
So what ended up happening was it was a passenger train that actually left out of Kansas, and it was going to St. Louis for the 1904 World's Fair. Mm-hmm. The train was overbooked and was too full of people. So in Lee Summit, was it Lee Summit? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lee Summit, they actually took the train and divided it into two trains.
Okay.
So they took half the people off. They took those people and they said, okay, well, we're going to get another engine and another passenger car, and we're going to put you on that train. And meanwhile, we're going to send this first train on. Well, coming out of Sedalia was a freight train, and they had pulled off onto a siding in order to wait for that first train to go by.
Okay.
Now it gets a
they
little...
didn't know there was a second train because they didn't have cell phones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of confusion at that point in time about what happened, why did it happen, and that kind of stuff. But ultimately what ended up happening was they got back, they saw a train go by, they got back onto the main line thinking that their train had gone by.
Oh, no.
And then at that same time, they released the second train out of Lee Summit.
Yes.
Right.
And so as it was coming together, they realized that the two trains were going to head on. But they had already released the trains. They were already on the way, and there was no way to stop that.
Man, could you imagine the people that figured this out before the trains had hit to know it, but then not be able to, A, ride a horse fast enough to get here, B, drive a vehicle fast enough to get here? They have, telegram?
Telegraphs, yeah.
Between the 1904, who had many vehicles, you know.
Yeah, you would have had to have
train was a mode of transportation.
Oh, yeah. I bet that made somebody just sick. I mean,
absolutely.
I couldn't imagine, like right now, if I was thinking like, oh, these two cars are about to hit head on and I can't get in touch with them because their cell phone's dead. Like, it would be devastating, especially with 29 people.
Mm-hmm. And then because it happened right here on Dead Man's Curve, you couldn't actually see the train coming.
Right.
So the two trains were at full speed whenever they rounded the curve and actually saw each other. And at that point in time, of course, you throttle down, you throw on the brakes. And I think the actual
lower one is on Bear Creek, so it's a lower altitude. And so then when this one's coming around Dead Man's Curve, they couldn't see each other.
Yep.
So it was the one's coming down the hill and the one's coming up the hill, and then that's where they collided.
So I see that y'all have got pictures all around here how did that happen?
It's kind of one of the things where after, doing the research on the whole 1904 World's Fair, we approached the St. Louis Historical Society on the World's Fair train wreck, and we got some rights to use all the pictures there. And then we also contacted the Missouri Pacific Railroad and got rights to use their logo of the pin that was given to people that rode the train, the 1904 World's Fair pin that said World's Fair on it and everything. So we've kind of recreated a lot of that. There's a big picture of the whole World's Fair as you walk in the door. And then on the right side, there's also the article of Phantom, we call it the Phantom News, where we rewrote the article of 3 different newspapers and put them into one. So you got all the facts from 3 different newspapers that each one had their own spin on it, but they all were accurate on their side of it because of where they were positioned at the time of their...
Whoa, accurate news. What is that? Oh, I'm just
and preserving history, too.
Yes. Well, so talking about getting the rights to being able to use something. One time I wanted to put the Wonder Woman logo on it was a women's only event. Do you know some of that stuff's really not that hard to get? Right. But it took me. I had to get okayed in 2 different states to be able to put it onto a horse show ribbon, and then get like a piece of paper sent to the person that was making the ribbons because I didn't want to get into any trouble. Mm-hmm. But man, some of that's just asking, and they'll let you do things.
Yes.
So, but a lot of people don't ask.
That's what we did. We just ask.
I know, just ask. And then I've got some really cool ribbons, and people don't even realize how much work it took for me to make that happen, to be able to. They're really beautiful. There's like 30 inches, and they got the Wonder Woman brand all the way down the sides. Mm-hmm. So we used to have these all-around cowgirl challenges at our facility. So the Pacific Railroad was the one that had
Missouri Pacific. Yep.
Okay, Missouri Pacific. Yep. Our ranch and all of our businesses are actually on Pacific School Road, and we have an old schoolhouse that is still on there. I mean, it's not functioning. My husband's father, I think he was in his 80s when he passed away, and that school only went to the 8th grade. And my husband's father was able to finish the 7th grade in there, and that was the year that they had closed. So y'all also have a schoolhouse here on this property?
Mm-hmm. Back in the day, a guy named J.H. Mays actually owned most of the property in the area, and the schoolhouse was named after him over up here on the hill. Right now, the foundation and part of the roof is still there. Mm-hmm. Some of our wishes and plans someday is maybe to reconstruct that schoolhouse. We're trying to find images. We got some people from Johnson County Historical Society trying to find stuff like that so we could recreate that. But J.H. Mays Schoolhouse up here on the hill in 1883.
So our property, y'all are 1904, this land, whenever it had a bunch of historical things happen here. And then we're 1906. We're the 4th generation to get to own our land and have businesses on it. And I think a lot of people, they just don't take the time to connect back to historical things, but I love that because it makes you unique. Mm-hmm. So whenever people pass this, a lot of times they're like, oh, that's that vodka place, and I'm like, dude, that V is for 5. Yep. Okay, so tell us about how you came about getting Colton's in here. Tell us about all of that connection.
So ultimately, what we ended up doing was, whenever we were building the new building, one of the complaints that we always had at our previous facility was that it was alcohol only. We didn't have any food. Mm-hmm. And so all the customers that were coming in were saying it'd be nice if there was some sort of snacks or bar food or something. So whenever we built the new building, we really wanted there to be a restaurant, some sort of food.
Hold on, where was the old building?
So we were just down the road on DD.
Okay.
There's a little sandwich building.
Okay.
They used to make sandwiches for like C-stores.
Oh, okay. And y'all were
the
just in there?
roundabout at DD.
Yep.
What did you say?
We were at the roundabout on DD.
On the roundabout at DD.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And all right, so you're right here at Warrensburg, not very long, not maybe 2 miles, a mile and a half away. Okay. All right. And so this was when I will tell you, whenever we used to pass this, we were like, "Oh, that's a big old wedding barn going up," and they done built a
competitions
pond.
in town, right?
Well, we're all the ways away, but yeah, we were like, "Man, that one's going to be beautiful." Are they putting an elevator in there? I mean, like that's.
We heard fireplace many times.
Oh,
yep. Everybody said that's going to be the biggest fireplace I've ever seen.
Oh. Okay, so y'all decided to come here. So go ahead and about Colton's.
So at the time, we were just looking for a restaurant, and we sold our product to Colton's at the time, the chain. And so we were basically good friends with them at that time. And so we said, we're wanting to put a restaurant into our building, but we don't know the first thing about a restaurant. So could you give us some pointers, tips, helps? How do we lay out the kitchen? How do we handle these things? We just don't know. And so they started giving us all these pointers and tips on how to do that. But at the end of the day, we were just looking for someone to manage a restaurant.
Right.
We wanted to build the restaurant and then leave that open for someone to come in and manage. And basically they were like, why don't you consider us? And at the time it was just the managers. Whatever restaurant name we chose, they would just come in and manage that restaurant.
See, I didn't know that was a service of Colton's. I didn't understand that, but they can just manage one and it not be a Colton.
So it's just the managers, the owners,
okay,
of those Coltons wanted to come in and basically just take this on as a side project.
Okay.
And then ultimately, at the end of the day, they ended up pitching it to the actual Colton's chain. There was some apprehension there, but eventually they said, yeah, let's give it a shot. So,
well, because Warrensburg is not very far away from the town of Sedalia, and Sedalia is the closest large town to me, where we're at, but they just thought that y'all would...
they thought initially that there was a lot of apprehension in the fact that building another Colton so close to a already existing Colton's
right
would end up taking away a lot of their business. But at the end of the day, it actually ended up helping their business.
Well, I could see that because then people actually knew about Colton's. So like this town of Warrensburg has UCM in it, so it's a University of Central Missouri, and that's where you actually graduated from.
It is.
And I graduated from there. Where'd you graduate from, Mike?
School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, man. That's that's a rough.
I'm still going to school.
Oh, okay.
My company puts me through school constantly. No, I did a lot of classes at State Fair Community College, too.
My husband, who is way more talented than me, he didn't graduate from State. He needed 2 more classes. And that man, I've got 3 college degrees, and he's made more money than me every time, and it's well worth it, So I understand that about the hard knocks. Those hard knocks are lessons that a lot of people don't have, and that work ethic really has helped place him into some wonderful positions. And I'm over here like, but dang it, I went to school forever. Come on. So we were talking about... what were we talking about right there?
Basically went through the Coltons and how we...
Oh, with Colton's.
Yep.
And then Colton's in Sedalia, they have... That state fairgrounds is hopping. I mean, they've always got events there all the time. So I could see how they would be a little bit worried, but people in Sedalia are not going to drive a lot of times all the way to Warrensburg just to eat at a Colton's, and the people around Warrensburg are not going to drive all the way to Sedalia. There's already there's such huge populations in both of those cities, or both of these towns, so I could see how they would help each other, because then when the Warrensburg people go to Sedalia, they're going to be, they're familiar, and they're like, that was a nice restaurant.
So the other thing, too, I ought to mention on that is that ultimately at the end of the day, Colton's rents the space from us, but they're also, I can't say a partner, but they're very close with us.
Right.
So they actually end up doing all of our tastings.
Okay.
So at the old building, we used to do tastings ourselves, and we still would here too, but because they have the restaurant and they're pouring at a bar, it made more sense to have them do our tastings for us.
So they do flights, 2 flights of 5 flavors or a 10 flavor flight.
Okay, so whenever you say tastings means what? What is that? What's the definition of a tasting?
Essentially, if you don't want to purchase a whole bottle or you're skeptical of what the flavor is going to be like,
okay.
You could go in
Never
and
tried
order
alcohol.
Yeah,
right.
You could go in and buy a flight.
Like Budweiser. Whenever we went to the Budweiser plant before, we wanted to try all of their beers, and then we'd figure out what we wanted. So they do that for you. See, there's a lot of confusion there because we view you and Colton as one entity. But you're a distillery, and you built a building for your distillery that has a large enough space for a restaurant.
Correct.
And then Colton's rents the building from you, but then they do their tastings for you.
Correct.
Okay, boy, that's some...
So it gets a little twisted. But
And then one more added to it. We have our gift shop right in front of it all.
Right.
That's another, called business entity.
no, I mean, it's a part of us. It's our retail shop.
Right. I love going in there. Y'all have some really nice things that have been laser etched that are for sale, and things that have been used with the CNC that's in there also, and then all the different alcohols in there. And y'all have something that is, I'm going to buy it because of the color. The one that's blue Okay, you done tapped into my cowgirlness.
Lake-time
Like
addiction.
I've got to buy that because of the color, because it's going to taste good, because it's pretty. So what is that one?
Well,
the blue one.
There's a whole story behind that one.
Oh,
So
okay.
lake-time addiction.
That's what it's called, is lake time addiction.
Yeah, lake-time addiction. So if you look at the back of every bottle, there's a story behind it.
Okay.
And so with that one there, we actually kind of sponsor a band called basically Dirt Road Addiction. They wrote a song called Lake Time. It's about spending too much money at the lake, drinking beer and doing what have you, you know. Well, we basically, when we were first naming it, we were calling it Lake Water, and that just, nobody says that sounds good.
No, because it makes me think about somebody peeing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So then what we did was they had that song called Lake Time, and we talked to them, and then we just decided to add the word addiction to it, because it's going to be addictive once you start drinking it.
Oh, no.
And it's a pretty good drink. It's kind of our island drink. And then,
it's got coconut in it, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love coconut. Okay, so here we go. Y'all don't know very much about me. I'm from South Texas. I'm Tex, almost Mex is what that's where I'm from, okay? And then I moved to Arkansas whenever my family needed kind of like a new start, okay? So the whole world didn't know everything that they had done wrong. And then I moved to Missouri. I chose between Missouri and New Jersey for which state I wanted to train with for martial arts. Okay, so the thing that you don't know is we got some Southern cooking, right?
Okay.
But some weird stuff in it. You have got to try pumpkin pie, not alcohol, like real pumpkin pie, but you got to put coconut flakes in it. And don't do it a little bit. You need to go heavy with it. So every bite, like, it's connected to the next piece with how much coconut's in it, and you'll be like, what did I just
grandma's
eat?
secret ingredient in her zucchini bread is coconut.
Oh, it is?
So that takes it to a whole nother level. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, well, my husband can't stand it, but I can't eat it without it. I am all about that coconut in there. So tell us about your other we can't call them brandies, and they're not vodkas. So what exactly are they?
So just to get a little background on that. So according to the TTB.
Sounds like an airplane's going off in here. What is that?
Might be there just to kick
Just
on.
the air kicked on. All right, if y'all hear that, it's just the air kicked on. So sorry about it. All right, so what is TTE?
TTB. It's
TTB.
the Tobacco Alcohol Tax Bureau, federal government.
All right, so fancy stuff that tell us what to do.
Yeah, they're the ones that make the rules and regulations for the laws that we have to follow as a distillery.
Okay.
So the regulation is that brandy is anything that's made from fruit. And so we're made from apple, so that's why we're in that brandy world.
Okay.
However, brandy, traditional brandy, and the term brandy, according to their definition, is not distilled above 160 proof. Our product is distilled up to 192 proof, somewhere between 185 and 192. And so once you go above 160, we're technically no longer brandy. We're now in our own class of, we don't know, called Distilled Spirit Specialty.
Okay. So you're almost a brandy. You're closest to brandy, but y'all are too BA to be brandy because you're too high of proof.
We are distilled at too high a proof.
Yep. Wow, what a great problem. What a great problem. Okay, so tell us about some of the other things that you have, like flavors and stuff.
So like Chris was talking about, because we start off at 190, one of our very first product that everything comes from is what we call Venom. So we actually bottle and we don't really try to push it other than sales here, but we sell a product called Venom. It's 190 proof. So it's if you want to add that to some of our flavors to amp it up, you got that. And then from there, because we're at 190, that allows us to fall into neutral spirits also. So we make a vodka, and so really good vodka.
So explain to me what did you say, neutral spirit?
So again, back to the TTB, neutral spirits is anything that's distilled greater than 190. So once it's distilled above 190, according to the federal government, it can become anything else. So that's why they call it neutral spirits.
Okay.
So we can take our brandy up to 190, so then it becomes neutral, and then we can bring it back down to vodka.
And what is vodka's numbers?
Vodka is anything that comes off a still greater than 190.
We actually proof it at 80.
Okay, explain again.
So we take the vodka, and basically we cut it down to 80 proof.
Okay.
And
so it has to be 80 to be vodka?
It has to be distilled greater than 190 to get the term neutral spirits or vodka.
Okay.
And then we actually take that and we bring it down to 80 proof.
Okay. What that
vodka also takes basically the filtration process to make it a vodka. It has to be
to polish it. Yep.
Okay. All I'm thinking about is fuels. You know what I mean? We're like
that high proof.
Yeah. I'm thinking
race car stuff.
Yeah, race car stuff and jet engine, and then it comes down to like diesel fuel, but then diesel is so much more expensive right now than other things, which cracks me up because it's not distilled as much. If I've got that correct, or am I wrong about that?
So vodka is very highly distilled.
Right.
But we want to bring it down to 80 so it's drinkable.
Okay. Yeah, because if not, you're just going to be like...
You're drinking rocket fuel.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. You giggle about that. That's awesome. So tell us about some of the other flavors. So you've got Venom. That does sound crazy, but y'all have not talked about my favorite yet. Okay.
Just go through the flavors.
Yeah.
First one we made was peach. Peach
Okay.
recipe number 5, or peach orchard recipe number 5 is the first one.
And we kind of joke about that because it took us so many attempts to get our first recipe approved through the government.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And so that was our quote-unquote 5th attempt to get it approved that we could sell it.
It takes so much time to get everything to go through the government. I mean, it took me 3 attempts to get Big Boss Mare trademarked. You know, so it's just people don't understand the paperwork that goes into being a professional.
Whose desk it falls on.
Yep. Okay, so you have peach, you've got Venom, you've got the...
So right after peach, we go to butterscotch.
Okay.
And then from there, number 1 seller is old-fashioned oatmeal cookie.
That's my favorite. Oh, my gosh.
So I got a great story on that. And actually, it's just a story that we had.
Yep.
So when we first made that, Mike and I were collaborating on what can we do and how can we do this. And we had an idea of how we could add oatmeal because we make everything out of whole juices. So we have alcohol and we have whole juices, and that's how we come up with our product. But we had an idea of how we were going to add in oatmeal flavor, and we thought it would go great, and so we tried it. And then we put that out, and we put it in 5 little bottles, and we took it out to all of the partners. And
That's
we
how
said,
everything's approved, partners.
Oh, yeah. And we had them all try it, and all of them was basically like, no.
We're not making oatmeal cookie.
We're not making this. It's horrible stuff. We're not making it.
So they take it home to their wives.
And so literally we said, take these home, take them back to your wives, make sure your family agrees. And in the meantime, we're going to pour it out, and that'll be the end of it. We won't ever ask again.
That night our phones are blowing up text. We're making oatmeal cookie.
Please don't dump it out. Don't get rid of it.
Don't dump it out. Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to make y'all very rich, apparently, from that, because I talk about that nonstop, and we talk about it at our ranch, and then y'all are at another person that I had interviewed is Jason Worthley with Patio 52, and that is a restaurant and bar that's in Stover.
Just opened up, yeah.
Yeah, and May they'll be open for a year. Nothing like open up at the end of the pandemic, and man, we have so many horse trail riders and people that come in, and they're all hitting up Patio 52 for some oatmeal cookie brandy from Phantom V. Like, they've got it, like, here's all the words that you need to say to find this masterpiece. And I don't like anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, oh, I like hard liquor.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
I mean, it makes me, like, whenever my husband and I go to Mexico, he likes everything to be really sweet. Like, he likes pop and all the time, and he likes fruits and stuff. And then I usually like bourbon. I don't even want it. I think it's called On the Rocks. I just like, neat,
or
nothing.
neat's no rocks and in rocks, on the rocks, yep.
Yeah, I don't want nothing in there. Just the bourbon. Yeah, then I like it neat. And then here I am. I feel like I'm branching out and being a little bit more feminine with like a flavored alcohol, because usually I like a smoked bourbon. I should be about a 70-year-old man with a cigar with my bourbon. But now I love your oatmeal cookie.
Well, now just take your bourbon and pour a little oatmeal cookie, and you got best of both worlds.
That's what
it's
everybody
really
does.
Good.
Okay, I trust you with alcohol for sure, because like that oatmeal cookie. So, anybody got some love of oatmeal in your family to decide to do that?
So that kind of goes. Me being a sales guy, every morning I usually before I hit the road I go and do my stuff at the shop, and then I'm getting ready to hit the road. So I go into a convenience store, always grab the 2-pack soft oatmeal cookies and a sweet tea, and I hit the road. And
are you sure you're not from the South? I mean, like, good Lord.
Yeah. So I'm just always been an oatmeal cookie fan, and we got stories from people coming in and telling us that they're making their oatmeal cookies with our oatmeal cookie. With alcohol, and they always joke around the grandkids sleep better. So
it's a joke. Take a joke, people. We're playing.
Yeah. So
okay, well.
So then, with going to the next flavor from old-fashioned oatmeal cookie, then we had come up with cran-ras. So cran-ras is a cranberry with a black raspberry. So if you've ever had cranberry, it's always tart and kind of got that bite to it.
Yeah, it just made me have like a little bit of, I felt a little acid reflux, and I haven't even drank it because I was like, oh, it's going to be tart.
Yeah, but the black raspberry kind of takes that out of it. And Chris and I really kind of honed in on that and really felt like that kind of made that unique. And
what made you do black raspberry instead of red raspberry?
So we wanted, black raspberries are a little sweeter.
Okay.
So we wanted that. So what it gives you is that pop of tart in the beginning, which gives you that, that sour face. And then it finishes up with a super sweet black raspberry.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like a Sour Patch Kid. It's mean at first, and then it's nice.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, going back to recipes and what everything does. So I'm going back to my sweet tea. Our peach is great in sweet tea. You pour that in there. The cran-ras is really good in sweet tea. And our lemon's really good in sweet tea.
Well, yeah, because that lemon, what does that make? And what is that, an Arnold Palmer?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. So then from cran-ras we go to beach plum, which, in its previous day was called premium vine, and we basically got a thing to rename that.
So a plum, plums are what makes the flavor for Dr. Pepper. So
this is actually a tree, a bush, right?
Well, our flavor is grape.
Okay.
And so basically we were calling it premium vine because it was grape. There's another winery that shares our name, not in this state.
Right.
Or their product does, not them.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, and so...
Got to twist it up.
And so our name became a point of contention.
Okay.
So we trademarked.
Yeah. Hey.
No.
Oh, you did? Oh, so you trademarked your stuff?
We went to.
Okay. They trademarked their stuff.
Okay.
We had a little bit of a legal battle.
Right.
At the end, we won, but out of courtesy, we went ahead and changed our name to Beach Plum.
Okay.
Well, in that process, we decided not to use the word grape, green, purple, vine, vineyard, because they're a winery, and they wanted that portion.
Okay.
And so what we did was we did a little research and found out that beach plum is a grape lookalike that grows on beaches.
Okay.
And so
I like the story. It's a sophisticated naming. I like that.
So we're not plum. We're the lookalike of grape.
It's really got the flavor of a sangria too. So it kind of goes the wine background. So then it's got a little pear, a little apple, hint of citrus, and then the grape comes on the backside. And so those flavors kind of come delayed, wouldn't you say, Chris?
Well, it's funny how the flavors hit the palate, because it's like the palate takes each of those flavors in turn.
Okay, I will tell you, I'm so intrigued. Like, I'm going to try that before I leave, because I'm over here like, you mixed all that?
Yep.
The part that I'm all like, ooh, I know that the pear, whenever you said pear was in it, I'm like, okay, I'll try that.
And it's a prickly pear, so you can feel it.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's weird. It's funny how it hits a palate.
Okay. Well, yeah, because I love whenever flavors confuse me. That sounds very confusing. It sounds like a lot, but then it's probably going to come all together.
Well, it was since it was the next flavor after Tranraz, and we had really good experiences with mixing those two flavors and how they played with each other. We thought, well, let's take it to the maximum level. Let's really mix this up, and that's kind of where that came from.
Okay, well, I hope you win every award in the world with that one because that just sounds like a lot. I mean, I love it though. You know, I have a cup that I sell a lot of, and it says, "If I'm too much, then go find less." Okay, so that's what that flavor, like that's the vibe I'm getting from that flavor is the name is.
We find out it's a regional thing too. We find areas that like it more than others, so it's kind of one of those unique things on. We'll call it on the sales side of it.
We sell ice cream at our place, and it's a Missouri product. They make it with Missouri honey, and they sweeten it with Missouri honey, and it's made just with Missouri dairy. But we sell so much banana ice cream at our place. But I think because I'm all like, oh my gosh, that banana ice cream. And then I'm like, if you put a scoop of peanut butter on top of it and you get a little bit of peanut butter and then that banana. But see, I was like raised with Elvis Presley. Like my parents loved Elvis Presley. So I'm all like, peanut butter and banana
sandwiches
belong together.
Yep.
But yeah, maybe, you might have some big people that like love those in those different areas and they're going to push them because every person that asks me which ice cream, I'm like, banana. And like my husband likes the strawberry and they're like, well, what about this butter pecan? I'm like, yeah, it's good. But you asked me what was my favorite. So, you never know who's pushing what on that. So do you have any other flavors?
The next flavor is kind of one of those ones that it was our first flavor, but we didn't release it till, was it 05?
Well, it was actually the first flavor we attempted, but we never quite got it right. We're picky, and so we never got it to the way we wanted it until later on. So we actually started with our apple.
And it's called Spirited Apple Orchard. So the spirit's part of the Phantom and the haunting and the distillery and the location.
Okay.
But I always like to use what Jim Stuck says. Jim's one of our partners, and he says that it's like a Hallmark moment. You should be sitting in front of a campfire sipping it with your sweetie.
We can make that happen.
Yep.
With our ranch. Yep. We can do that. We've got 40 RV sites. That means we got 40 campfires. Actually, we got 44 campfires because we got 4
sites there.
A lot of sipping sites for sure. And here, I'll tell you something funny about our guest. If I hear the F-bomb a lot, I'm like, it's either a cop or a nurse. Isn't that, that's what we love our clients, man. We have some events called Chicks in the Sticks. Those are one of my favorites. And it's all-inclusive women's event. And one of them, you got to be at least 50 to come to. Those things are maxed out this year. So those are Big Boss Mare productions, okay, because it's a female-only event. And then I've started doing some business coaching. Well, those are called Country Tough Business Coaching because I've had 5 businesses I've helped so far, but 4 of them were male-owned. Well,
Sure.
A man's not going to be looking for business coaching in something that says Big Boss Mare.
Yeah.
So do you have any other flavors?
Yeah, so then the next one would be watermelon. And Chris came up with a pretty good deal with that one. Watermelon's got its own thing, but to make it natural and one of the things we pride ourselves is 100% natural juices, and that's the way we try to make it so it's made from the best ingredients. Well, he came up with the idea to put a little bit of cucumber extract in it to give it that rind feel to you get that little hint of that on the taste of it.
Whenever you get the juice from the watermelon, right? It's just the ripe watermelon.
Right.
And so most people, when they physically eat it, you get a little rind.
Right.
So
okay, so man, I can tell you, I'm a foodie. If people don't know me, that they're tuning in because they knew the guys, but they don't know me. The name of this is Big Boss Mare, so I'm a big girl. Okay, I love different foods and stuff, and the fact that you're playing on my emotions with adding that cucumber in there because it's going to bring you back to a time. Drinking this right here is going to make you man, so many memories are attached to a flavor. Or whenever I smell something, I'm like, oh, that person's making rolls like my grandma. Or, I remember that. That's whenever I lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, and I did research over shrimp for a summer. You know, like different things will bring you back to different times in your life. And the fact that you're putting a little bit of the rind taste in with the watermelon, that's genius. That's cool. What made you, I mean, like.
Well, I mean, the watermelon seems sweet.
Right.
You know, like watermelon is. But it never had that, remember, I'm picky.
Right.
We're picky. So it never quite had that flavor that you eat watermelon.
Right. Okay.
So how do you get to that flavor of what you eat? And finally one day I ate too much.
Okay.
You get into the real sour rind. You're like, oh, that's what I'm missing.
Yeah, you're just missing that little twang, that little, man, that is so smart. I'm impressed. I meet a lot of people in all of our different businesses. I meet a lot of people, and that impressed me. So
cool. Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's going back to the watermelon. One of the other things we had, one of our very first places that took us on was Craft Beer Cellar, and they had a cucumber beer. So they would actually put our watermelon in the cucumber beer, and it made the most phenomenal beer drink you ever had.
Wait, they would put. Explain that to me one more time.
So Craft Beer Cellar has basically a can of cucumber beer. And so,
I would have never put that together.
I know, they make tons of different beer. You know, everybody's, just like the breweries and the distilleries, trying to set some stuff unique. Well, that cucumber beer paired with our watermelon is just out of this world. Wow,
that sounds...
So then, talking about beers, you look at something like Natural Light, and our Cran Raz, people are putting that in their Natural Light, and it makes a really nice summer drink.
Okay. I cannot wait to tell my horse clients to listen to this and my camping clients.
Yep.
Because, I mean, just mixing some things. So they could stop. Y'all are here on 50 highway, and you'll see the sign in the air, and then you gotta put the brakes on pretty quick because you gotta turn before you get to your sign. Yep. But then they could come down and you've got your store in the front. And then y'all are also, where's some locations that you're sold at?
Oh, wow. That's
Sedalia's got a couple of stores that you're in.
Yeah, we've recently got some more distributors taking us on. We're really starting to branch out. You can find us right now probably in, I don't know, there's 12 counties there, then another 20. I mean, we're getting out there. Everything from Kansas City to we'll be in Joplin before you know it, down Lake of the Ozarks. St. Louis. We do have a store locator. It's probably the easiest way to do it. It's on phantomv.com, and we have a store locator.
With us, we hosted an event called the Great American Trail Horse Festival, and we had people from 20 states come and 3 countries. And, man, we have clients that come to camp at our facility just because of Charlie's Buffet. It's this, they're
we have
only
people,
open.
How many bottles can you get on a carry-on?
Yes. We have people, like our Chicks and the Sticks events, we rent a limo or a charter bus, and then we go to mom and pop shops because instead of going to a chain, we wanted to go something. Sure. But people they love to, with fuel prices and the way the economy is right now, whenever they go somewhere, they really want to have an experience. And that was something that I liked about y'all's stuff is you're an experience because your people coming together.
Not only a location, but a destination. That's what everybody's saying.
Oh, there we go. That was that's pretty good right there. Yeah, people love having more to do instead of just come and camp. And if it's raining or something, I mean, I think it took me a little bit less than an hour to get here, maybe right at an hour. It's not that. It seems like it takes me forever to get into Sedalia.
Yeah, it's about 45 minutes for me.
Yeah, so it's not really that bad, and you don't even live very far from us.
No.
I know, that's so weird. You're south on 65, and so are we.
Yep.
But, so what's your goal? Like worldwide? Y'all want to?
I don't know. We think we've finally got Missouri figured out. We're getting close to having Missouri taken care of. We've been working on distribution, and that's starting to really go for us. A lot of our thing right now is, getting production up there. We've got 400 or 500 gallon stills, and 2 of them are up and going, and 2 more are ready to go online. And then we got, our bottling line that's getting fine tuned, and we're getting going from there.
Well, my husband has a business called Building with David, where we're building. It's for children that are homeschooled or people that just their kids like to build. Well, we're adding on to our shop because that CNC can only make so many kits. It's like that router thing. So the expansion on our shop, he needs the room right now just to be more comfortable, but we have to get enough power in there. But we're going to end up making it large enough to have 3 CNCs because we're trying to stay ahead of our growth. And, with that business, I mean, he makes... With me being a former school teacher, and there's no state standards in Missouri for shop class, which is industrial technology, but there are national standards. So we send them this kit, and it has a complete curriculum with it. And it has worksheets, and we have different levels and everything. So we're trying to get the ball rolling, but then keep up with our current needs, but then we're trying to look at our future projections at the same time.
Sure.
So I can understand y'all have the same,
We have a lot in, we'll call it in R&D that's out there that we're working on.
R&D.
Yeah, so we have
research and development.
Yeah, so we got all kinds of flavors out there that we hope to introduce someday. I mean, we were talking about, watermelon was the last one, and then the next time, the one that I like to talk about a lot is the lemon that's next, because it's like limoncello. And one thing we found out about when we were doing it was that the Air Force Base, all those guys go to Italy, and they say it's the closest thing to limoncello they've ever found.
Okay.
And the lemon extract that Chris found is phenomenal. It basically, what is it?
It's the Verde lemon out of Italy, and they've never allowed it for export until 2 years ago. We were the first.
Oh, okay.
And it's literally the size of a Nerf football.
Yeah, the lemon itself grows to the size of a Nerf football.
That's crazy. I know that whenever I fought in Italy before, that was one of the 5 countries I fought in, and they had lemon-flavored gum, and it just felt so refreshing.
Supposed to soothe the stomach and palate and all kinds of stuff.
And then lemon, I put a whole bunch of lemon juice and lemon zest into my competition pies because it makes me think about summertime. And, so...
Oh, yeah.
I love lemon. It's so refreshing, and it makes you once again, it takes you to another place in your mind.
Well, and our lemon is key to making your favorite, the Lake Time Addiction. Because without that lemon, right, and Chris can test this, we went through a lot of lemons. Yeah. A lot of different lemons.
Oh yeah. It was crazy.
I know one night there was seven versions on the R&D bar testing through people. Oh yeah. And we really take pride in our lemon we have. So then that allowed us to make the next one, which was Lake Time Addiction. And so then from there, you got Lake Time Addiction. And then in our last one we got on there is Cherry. And then in R&D, we've got quite a few. I think Chris's favorites should be the next one.
I hope so. We
got one called Sunset Mango that we think is going to be a killer.
Sunset Mango. Well, the naming is beautiful. The naming is great. I teach one of the horsemanship things that I teach. I'm the only mounted archery instructor in the state of Missouri. And in Sedalia, they have neat archery, which is that they don't sell to individuals. They sell to larger businesses, okay? Well, they worked with me to create a complete line of mounted archery equipment, but my back quiver took forever. It probably took us 1.5 years with different prototypes, and I would be like, hey, fix this, fix that. And then I would shoot with it for a while. Well, then they didn't like the wear and tear of some of the things, so they were like, we don't want a product that looks like that. So I understand what you're saying about going through the lemons because you want it to be right.
Right.
And then our gloves, like in mounted archery, like I am right-handed, and so most of the time in regular archery, you would have a glove on your right hand because you would do a 2 or a 3 finger draw. But in mounted archery, you have to use your hand as a shelf. So the glove is on my left hand. Well, that right there, it was hard to get quality products. So it took us forever to get the glove just right because a lot of people that were making mounted archery equipment in the United States, it was an individual and then they wouldn't always be the same size. It wouldn't be exactly the same. So now we have a manufacturer that makes ours. But it took so much work.
Oh, yeah.
We had a world champion come in, and he was like, what is this glove? Like, it's so much better. And I was like, yeah, because it's USA made, and we went through a company that can make everything always the same. So, like, whenever you're talking about all your flavoring and how long it took, I'm like, oh, man, we've been living the same nightmare. But, I mean, like, it's a cool nightmare, but to get things right, you know, for a quiver in mounted archery, we have such different sizes of people. And then if it's left or right-handed, that's 2 different ones. And then we have a thigh quiver, but we made that where it can swivel to be for a left or a right-handed archer, because it's going to sit on a different part of the body. It's going to sit on the other side. So just a nightmare, literal nightmare with coming up with that stuff and then just getting it right. Mm-hmm. But then, man, what a great product that y'all have. And, like,
thank you.
Oh, my gosh, I'm so excited. As soon as we get off here, I've got a date with the non-grape thing. What was it called?
Beach plum.
Beach plum.
Yep.
Okay.
It's like a sangria.
So if anybody wanted to find you, how do they find y'all? How do they find, if they, can they ship? Can you ship your out? You cannot ship it. It's got to be bought.
So Missouri doesn't allow us to ship distilled spirits.
Okay.
Out.
Okay.
So we have to, we have to ship to a store or have a distributor take it to a store, and then they can purchase from a store.
Okay. I mean, some of the people that are probably listening probably have friends that have alcohol store or liquor stores in other states. Could another state? Nope. Can't go past the state line.
So whenever we hit the state line, now we change laws and we have to follow the next state's law.
And then get the license in that state.
Boo.
Yeah.
But, like, awesome.
You ought to answer all
me.
the emails I answer every night about, can you ship it to us in Arizona, upstate New York, Hawaii?
Oh, man.
It goes on and on and on.
So whenever they do come here, then they're going to have a reason to stop. So
I've heard there's a lot of people that live in Missouri that have a lot of friends out of state that they have to take care of.
Oh, do you know, at the Family Center, they've got this thing as a smoking pecan seasoning, and that's what I use whenever I cook fish. Uh-huh. If I went to Arkansas to visit my brother without bringing him some of that, he would be devastated. I'm like, okay, I am now the smoked pecan seasoning chick that, and he's told friends, so now I'm like, should have never made fish for you.
Yeah.
So how do they find you?
I guess, you got Google, and that'll pop up phantomv.com, which you can basically find us at the location. We're here at 85 Northeast 501 Road, Warrensburg, Missouri.
Okay, and then y'all on your website of Phantom V.
We have a store locator.
Got a store locator.
It's trying to catch up. It can't keep up with the rate we're growing right now, so it's a little behind.
Yeah, I understand.
So we're trying.
So at this point in time, if you're in Missouri and you're looking to get our product and it's not sold near you, the best thing is to send us an email, and we can put that to a distributor, and they can find someone in a store near you.
Okay. I love that y'all are so close to us, because it's an oddity, and people love oddities, especially whenever they've got this wonderful story. So, all right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in to Big Boss Mare with Brandy Von Holten.